Welcome to a new rapid game, 25-10. Varun 1 is my opponent. So, yeah, that's Sicilian again, right? I'm trying to practice that. Oh, do we get the Smith Morra? Yeah, we get the Smith Morra. Against a specialist, it's not so great. Let's check those guys' ratings. Oh, Smith Morra. We have cheese pizza. Okay. Yeah, good that we have time to look at those important information. I've played him with 50% in Blitz. That's weird. Maybe he had challenged me once or so. Okay, anyway, I'm taking that pawn. Let's... What's the expression? Pick up the gauntlet, something like that. Taking a while here. He's not going to sacrifice even more pawns. I think knight f3 or something is really incorrect. Yeah, the other question is, I have to say, I have absolutely no knowledge in this Miss Morra accepted. When I got it on the board, I usually declined it. And I remember I once, actually in tournament chess, took that pawn against a player with about 2,200, 2,100, 200, something like that. And I got really crushed. So remember that vividly. So especially after that game, I always tended to not take the pawn. But let's just see what happens. I'm playing this line here with knight to g6. Knight e7, knight g6. Maybe I could have played that even... Nah, I think you have to go a6. Yeah, the Smith Morra is not such a terrible opening. It is definitely giving white some compensation. It's probably just about enough for the pawn. So here I was thinking f6. Probably I have to do it. Yeah. It weakens, but otherwise I don't see how I get to g6. And now knight g6. Yeah, it is clear that my development is not brilliant. Okay, that's wow, that's a difficult word. Luxurious. That's the right pronunciation. Let's say it's he really says I have all the time in the world with bishop b3. Yeah, I wonder what the right way to play here is for white. Maybe knight d4 and then push f4, f5. Yeah, this makes some sense. Sorry. So he just aims for b6. Oh, it's also bishop b6. It's not just knight b6. Bishop b6. So rook b8 is very embarrassing and not a good idea. I need some square for the queen, so maybe castling. Bishop b6, queen e8. Yeah, I didn't fear this move that much, but it is definitely That definitely not easy for white. For black, I'm sorry. With the development so hampered. Yeah, how do I get rid of that knight there? Yeah, this is why I rarely took that pawn. It's just it's if you play it a little bit, just a little bit off as black, you sometimes get into this quite inconvenient positions. Just doesn't look very fun to play. I really don't see how I'm how I'm getting untangled here. Maybe bishop b4 to a5 and then to c7, something something like that. And that looks wrong somehow. I have a different idea. Maybe f5. f5 intending f4. Cutting off that bishop e3 from the knight. And if he takes it, rook takes for a possible future d5. Sorry. Yeah, that's interesting, definitely. F5. I mean, I expect him to play something like rook c1, and I don't know if he has something more sorry, more forceful, but I don't believe it. Don't really see anything great. Rook c1 is very likely. Do I go f5 then or not? He doesn't have any direct tactical stuff, I believe. I wonder if he can take it and play something like bishop c2. Where's my rook going? The knight on g6. If he takes that, and I have to take with the h pawn, it's a bit too ugly to stand, I guess. I'm not totally sold on that f5 idea. It has some drawbacks, but I really I don't see how I untangle really if I'm not doing that. Maybe bishop before a5, but that's really slow. With hindsight, maybe instead of bishop e7, if we check this like here, it is super slow, but maybe I should have played b5 here. To prevent knight a4. I don't know. And I'm not quite sure how to assess this position. I mean, it's inconvenient, but it's still a pawn. Okay, he's doing something flashy. I did not really see that this is possible. But the big question is it good in the first place? So bishop b6 is one possibility that I have to be aware of. The real problem is e takes, king h8, and then d6, not d takes, c6, d6. And that definitely gives white a tremendous compensation for the pawn. That's an interesting move. Rather, it's something that happens quite often, of course, in Sicilian, but the idea to play it with d6 is pretty good. I really like to take, if possible, simply to change this whole structure and get rid of this pieces going to b6 all the time. But e takes is really a problem. It's just a very good compensation. b5 is of course a possibility, just trying to prevent bishop b6 in that way. Okay, I can always take or operate with that idea of taking on e7 and putting something on c5. Yeah, come on, let's go b5. It's not, as I said, it's not exactly thrilling to play this, but probably have to. Yeah, in the right hands, this gambit is quite an idea to play. Really think so. If you got a good feel for the initiative and are willing to learn some lines, because it is an offbeat line or side line, but that doesn't mean necessarily that you don't have to work on it yourself. Yeah, some people think, okay, I'll play something offbeat and my opponent will not know it, and this is good. Yeah, I have to work less. That's not the case. Yeah, if you play an offbeat line, it basically almost all of the time implies that it's also a little bit worse than a main line, because it would be a main line if it would be great. So what you actually have to do is you have to compensate for lack of quality with your own work invested, and this way you can play offbeat openings successfully by simply knowing them better. If you just put yourself into a tricky situation with a somewhat slightly risky line, let's say, and you don't actually know it well, it simply doesn't help. Yeah, you need to have some specific knowledge to really make it work. Okay, what now? That's an interesting question. If I take it with the queen, most natural move, I expect rook c1 to happen for bishop c5, and Yeah, that's not a great prospect that this bishop might land there. But knight takes. Phew. Yeah, still, yeah. Probably still knight takes, g takes, I mean, knight g e7 takes. Knight a5 is something that I'm glad to have. Yeah, come on, let's take him. Let's take him. Yeah, queen takes, rook c1. I really didn't see any sensible move. If he gets his bishop, I mean, he will get his bishop to d6 in that case. Here, probably as well. Yeah, yes, a huge compensation. Really huge compensation. I'd totally be willing to return a pawn for getting rid of some of the pressure. A funny thing is that if he goes bishop c5 and I play knight a5, which was an idea, then queen d6 it's really posing or asking a very, very awkward question. b8 is hanging and e7 is hanging. If I move the knight, it will take a weight. Yeah, that's really, really, really bad, I guess. Good sign is that he's taking quite a bit of time on that. Bishop c5 looks very normal. Yeah, in some way I'm threatening d6 here. Yeah, threatening is a bit much, that word, but yeah, trying to patch some dark squared holes. Therefore, I think bishop c5 is the natural move, the move to play. I don't really see a good reply, to be honest. Bishop b7. I don't see a move really after bishop c5. There's nothing really satisfactory. If I go bishop c5, bishop b7, queen d6, I mean, it's just so awkward. Yeah, maybe I have to do that and hope I'm surviving this, but it doesn't look good. Wow, how long is he taking for that? There's some way to see that actually. I don't think it is. He's taking an awful lot of time for that pretty standard looking move. Maybe he is not sure if he if queen to d6 is maybe a better move order. That's a possibility. Queen d6 is also pretty awkward. But against that, no. Even there, I cannot go knight a5. Wow. I'm ahead on the clock. That's good. Have to see the bright side of things. But the position really sucks. Yeah, I have lots of time to think what to do. I still have not seen a decent move after queen d6 or bishop c5. What about that f5 idea? Is that any good? It has a point. If I somehow can remove that e-pawn, I might have a possible defense based on the d5 square. Let's say queen d6, f5, e5, and then I can try to somehow get something to d5. There are a couple of ideas. I think I probably have to do that. You know what I'm fearing? I hope he's not disconnected. No, he has a fantastic connection. Just probably taking a long time, or got irritated by, distracted is a better word, by something. A typical thing that happens to me as well, having to answer a phone call or taking the door or something along these lines. Yeah, maybe f5. I think after bishop c5 or queen d6, he's not threatening to win immediately. It's just a very imposing position, but there is no direct loss in sight. So maybe f5 is possible. It's still very strange. Can you see that actually? How long he's taking 8 minutes now on that move. That's hard to believe. Maybe bishop f4 is a move. It's an interesting move. I have to move the rook then. Then bishop d6. Yeah. Also very, 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 very logical way of playing. Yeah, what am I doing with that recording if he's never playing it? Never playing a move. 25 minutes down the drain. Yeah, maybe I'm going to release it anyway. It got some interesting points though. Even though, now he's coming up with queen d6. So, I was thinking f5, yeah? But, I mean, it's not like I'm trusting that move. Yeah, come on. Let's not think for ages here. One important point is that it fights, as I said, for the d5 square. In some cases, let's say he goes e5, I can try to get something to d5, like bishop b7, knight a5, then knight d5 or so. In a perfect world, which probably, yeah, will not happen. e5, knight a5, I'm blundering the rook. So, not happening immediately. But f5 looks shaky, I have to say. But I simply didn't see another move. A different move. E5 is probably okay. Can only, of course, raise the question if there's something much better, because, well, my position looks ugly, yeah, and there might be something that directly kills me. I don't see it at the moment, but there might be something. It wouldn't be very surprising if there's something drastic available that just wipes me out. E5 probably, yeah, bishop b7, this is actually even rook d1. Yeah, bishop b7, rook to d1. Is there some way, if I get the knight to d5, the whole thing is okay. But do I get it there? What about a5 here? For a4 and then knight d5. Maybe that gives me some sort of counterplay. One issue is also that rook on b8 is always under that influence of the queen on d6. So maybe it would help me if I can activate the rook somewhere on the b file. Yeah, it's this 10-second increment. Very important, but 10 second is, I mean, this is a good increment that is totally sufficient for getting totally winning positions to a win or drawing the dead positions, but it's not like you have all the time in the world. So his clock is ticking down, and I played relatively quickly. Maybe a bit too quickly, judging from the quality of my position. A funky idea would be to get in something like, let's say, a4, b4, rook b5, something to d5. Yeah, it would be nice, but probably difficult to get. So here I wanted to go a4 and b4. Yeah, let's do it. And it's not like I'm playing on time here, but playing a bit quicker makes sense, given that I'm that far ahead on the clock, putting some pressure on him. This is, for example, a weird situation. Why is he spending time? Yes. So b4 threatening b3. Yeah, come on. He takes it. and rook takes, I'm actually now using that rook actively. Yeah, I feel like I'm gaining a little bit here. Yeah, again, it's probably not very economical spending a huge amount of time here. Probably you have to take on b4. But okay, it's not the greatest time management person in my games here with commentary. I'm not a time travel guy in over the board chess, not at all. But here with the live commentary, I quite often get into time pressure. Okay, well, I would have liked to take with the knight on b4, but the rook was again hanging, and now the rook has become to life a little bit. And I will take b2, just like that. If he gives me that pawn, I will take it. Taking the b pawn would be very helpful, simply in terms of defense, that in cases where I might lose the a pawn, yeah, then I will still be left only with kingside pawns. So that would be quite helpful if I get the b pawn. But he can, of course, just just cover it somehow. My rook b1 looks very meek. So he actually gives me that pawn. Is there a problem with taking it? Not sure. I see him playing something like knight g5 or something like that. Yeah, okay. It doesn't really matter. I have to take it. It's huge progress that I've gotten that pawn. He still has got big pressure. Yeah? Don't get me wrong. I'm not celebrating here, being enthusiastic about my position. I'm not. But it was worse before, I believe. So I don't see a particularly. I don't see a threat. Is what I'm trying to say. But he has this pressure, of course. It's hard to improve actually for white. I mean, he has a super active position, but is there something that he can do with it? I don't really see. He doesn't have a threat. Maybe knight g5, something like that is there, but the problem is rather that I have a hard time of moving anything. Is knight g5 a threat? Maybe it is. Yeah. Knight g5 is not really a threat. How do I play this here? Can I... the c8 bishop. I would love to get this bishop into the game, but I don't really see how. Okay, so oops, let's go h6. I wasn't really sure if knight g5 threatened, but I don't see a particularly great move here. Maybe you can just play like rook c4 and pick up that a pawn. Rook c4, bishop c4, and then pick up the a pawn. One thing would be interesting, but it's not working right now, is to take on a2, give up the exchange, and then put the knight on d5 for a great knight square there. But it's not working at all due to what exactly? Bishop queen takes f8. Okay, knight d4. That is interesting. Threatens knight c6 first and foremost. If I take d4, he's taking e7, I guess. Okay, but that is not such a big deal. Knight d4, I rather think he will take with the rook or something. Ugh. Then bishop e6 is a huge problem. Okay, I really have to think about this now. Let's start. Knight d4, queen e7, bishop e7, knight e2 check, moves, knight c3. This must be good for black. Yeah, don't see that one happening. Takes on d4, bishop d4. That looks terrible for white. So he will take with the rook. After which bishop e6 is a threat, and also the knight hangs. Okay, bishop e6. I can play knight c6. After queen f8, bishop f8, there's still knight takes d4. So he has bishop e6 though. I take it. Now bishop e6 takes queen e6, queen c6. Wow, it's plain ugly. It really is. Bishop e6 takes. Yeah, but that's not that big a deal at the end. Maybe I can still play that, even though it looks, yeah, doesn't look great. Is there any other candidate move here actually? Knight takes c6 is a threat. Maybe rook e8. Maybe just rook e8. Which looks really, really ugly. Takes, I can do this. Nah, it's okay. Let's take them. Hey, he plays he played that very well. I'm in more than trouble. So rook takes d4. I wanted to play knight c6. Before I do that, do I have... Is there an alternative? No, queen takes. Haha. Talk about neglecting moves. I totally did not think about this. And he has bishop e6. Strong move. Wow. So, where do I go? Bishop takes e6. One good thing is that I'm 2 pawns up. That is it's quite helpful. If you take a2, rook takes. I don't have knight e5. As my other rook is also hanging. Bishop takes e6. Ugly. They're very ugly stuff. And the additional problem is that he will take on d7 as well. Unless I go rook b7, which again is amazingly ugly stuff. Okay, come on. Queen d4. Yeah, I overlooked a couple of simple moves there. He can simply take e6, take a4. I mean, that alone is absolutely terrible. Yeah, rook takes a4 or something. It's just fantastic for white. And, well, he probably has better moves. That might be one of them. So... where do I go here? To g6. I can just play bishop d5, something like that. And rook e8, bishop f7 is also great. Knight c6, he will gladly take on f8. Is there some way of letting him take on e7 so that I get one piece back afterwards? There's some way of doing that. Like queen e7, bishop e7, rook e8, and I will get one bishop back. The problem is that he always has bishop d5 with a tempo. Wow. And here knight g6. I should have gone to h7 probably. I mean, it's bad anyway, but h7 was better. I don't have no move. It's amazing how bad this is. Can I play, if I take on e6, queen d8, rook d8, rook d8, check? No, that loses everything. I have no move here. It's quite amazing. I mean, amazing. I knew that I'm in big trouble, but still went down the drain really quickly. Yeah, stuff like h6 and so on. Probably had to be far more precise there. So knight g6, bishop d5. Is there some way of getting counterplay? If I go to g5, for example, and he would take, bishop takes, that is counterplay. A little bit. Okay, it's probably just lost anyway, so let's not be too critical there. Second guess everything. At least queen g5 might pose some sort of practical problem. Maybe now f takes e6 becomes an option to give away an still not, no. Just too bad. Okay, my idea is queen g5, yeah, trying to irritate him, but okay, he has a ton of good moves. Bishop d5 is good. Rook c1, that I did not expect. If I go to g5 now, isn't that a bit annoying? Yeah, still has bishop d5. Yeah, anyway, come on. Let's do it. Bishop d5 is just good though. Yeah, keeps that, secures the bishop. I mean, after all, I'm now threatening to take it. Secures the bishop and covers g2. I cannot play knight h4 or f4 as f8 is hanging. So he has to, or I have to do something else. This move. Okay. But f4, huh? f4. let's move that.
Check.
Whoa. Okay, well, I'm just a bit stunned, so needed a moment to grasp what he just did. Okay, so I can now take e3 there, rook f8, king h7, check on g8, running all over the place now. Or I just take e6, f takes e6. Rook f8, king h7, bishop f4. I should win, huh? Yeah, I think it should win.
Check.
So queen where to h5. The all-important thing is that I have the a pawn. Now, here I am for queen c2 or rook b1 in the right moment. Yeah, he played an excellent game. I was just losing. Rook b1, yeah, I think so. I don't think he can stop the a pawn. Yeah, that was a very lucky turn of events. It was a really bad position. Whoa. Okay, a3 here, huh? Can push the pawn. Yep. Okay, wow, that was a lucky game.
White resigns.
A very lucky game. Let's check this. Probably we will see tons of possibilities for him. Yeah, around here I think this is something that's probably known, but I have to go b5. Yeah, that is really much better. Not allowing knight a4. I didn't really had this on the radar. Yeah, knight a4, but I have to do this probably. Not for. I mean, very often in the Sicilian b5 is played to undermine this knight and so on. Here it's mostly a move to defend against knight a4, and here it's already quite blah. Yeah. And I cannot do this because bishop b6. Huh? Yeah, and now he's getting this great compensation. That's a funny move, knight d5. The problem, as I said, is that here that he's not taking but playing d6. That's the real issue. If he takes it, I'm okay. Yeah, it's equal material. Yeah, I'm still a pawn up. Okay, sorry, I'm also a pawn up here. But anyway, this is not the point. White will play d6, d6, and then take this bishop. And here I'm again suffering on the dark squares a lot. So b5 is probably better. Yeah, maybe with hindsight I should have taken with the queen. Then f5. Yeah, that was my lash out move because I didn't want to sit passively any longer. Rook b7 is the engine suggestion for queen c7. Yeah, it's damn ugly. White has a fantastic game. e5, a5. I really felt that around here I was making some progress. Bishop here. I was even able to take this. And now h6. Yeah, h6 is probably bad. A comp gives queen a5. And then possibly rook b7. It's 2 pawns, but white's compensation is quite remarkable. Yeah, okay, h6 is probably not a good idea. 94. And now rook e8. Yeah, I really did not appreciate queen takes, but probably what I thought also is good. I was thinking of, what was the line? Rook e8 or something, or king f7. I was thinking that this is actually a move, bishop here.
Check.
And this. But yeah, okay, he can take here, and it's just better. It's just terrible. Here, bishop
Check.
takes, and queen d6, and white wins. Yeah, great game. Yeah, he played a great game here. And now this move, yeah, this is kind of not quite sure what to do. Bishop d5 was what I expected, and I didn't really see what to do. I mean, I wanted to play this, but okay, this is actually nice. Okay, he cannot take. Yeah, this is a bad idea, but he can play f4. That's a nice one suggested by the comp. Queen takes, queen g6, and knight takes is
Check.
this, of course. So no move. So rook c1. He's still winning, but let's see. Bishop b5 wins, but he played this, and after f4 I am winning. So bishop b3, probably his nerves were playing a big part here. Time ticking down. Bishop back is just good. It covers that sensitive square, attacks the rook. I'm done. He went here, and after f4 I'm winning him. Yeah, it's just stuff hangs. e6 hangs. Both the bishops are hanging.
Check.
He tried that, but it's not working. Takes.
Check.
Takes. Yeah, here those rooks, they have no real fight against the queen. a3, a2, and so on is happening. Yeah, that was a very lucky win. But it shows that even the most ugliest positions, you still have to really kill off, which he did not manage to do. So, yeah, lucky in that game. Thanks for watching, guys.